Hello, I'm Marta Setola and I'm here today to present a book review on Scurvy, how a surgeon, a mariner and a gentleman solved the greatest medical mystery of the age of sail. This is a book of 7R Brown and was published in 2003. Scurvy can also be described as a medical crime story or a suggestive voyage back to the age of sail, an era that is also attributed to adventurous voyages and discovery of new lands, but that in reality conceal numerous pitfalls. What really makes this book special, in my opinion, is the ability of the author, Brown, to turn a medical discovery into a tale in high seas. But let's start from the very beginning by saying that scurvy is a dietary deficiency vitamin C that also puzzled Greeks and Romans at the time, but then became quite popular in scientific mind until the age of discovery. The symptoms were rotten gums, cheeks hard and swollen, bruises, rednesses, also fatigue and the most feared one, death. And in order to really make the reader comprehend this disease, the author really well dwells into sailor's life, focusing on poor hygiene and malnutrition because the diet was the cause of the disease, even if the mariners didn't have a clue. Despite the fact that the disease claimed more victims than the sea life itself, it was so impossible to find a cure that it became a real medical mystery. Also, the medical knowledge at the time were absolutely inadequate to cope with illnesses with such intrinsic factor as nutritional one. And the European medical theory at the time was still largely based on Hippocrates' humoral one, and the methods used to get rid of illnesses as scurvy were absolutely ineffective, as bloodletting, assuming purgatives, or drinking alcohol. The strength of the author in describing this medical mystery is to gain the attention of the reader by taking advantage of his childish imaginary, and in order to do this, he describes the effect that scurvy had on the life of three men. The first one is James Lind, a surgeon and what we can consider the tragic hero of the story because he came closest to his goal but can never explain why. What is striking about the story is how the wrong opinion of luminaries of the time in medical field could negatively influence the outcome of a completely correct theory instead. Also, he was one of the first surgeons conducting a clinical trial on board of HMS Salisbury in 1747, concluding that citrus juice was the cure among all the wrong methods implemented at the time. The second character awakens the adventurous spirit that resides in each reader and is James Cook. James Cook was a sailor, an adventurer, and a captain. The author tends to point out the difference between a vision of a surgeon and a sailor, in particular the vision of Lind that wanted to declare what triggered the disease itself, and Cook that wanted his crew to be healthy and strong. And in order to be that, he needed to prevent the insurgence of diseases as scurvy. And he successfully did by provide each sailor with a daily dose of citrus juice that at time was not so easily found because considered too expensive. In my opinion, one of the take-home messages of the book is that society and healthcare industry tend to prioritize the economic factor more than human one, and this discourages the scientific progress. Although a young gentleman named Gilbert Blaine and known as father of naval medicine demonstrated the importance of preventive care, no matter the cost, in order to eradicate scurvy from English fleet. And demonstration of the importance of this thesis is the British fleet itself. They started to provide each seaman regularly with citrus juice, and since 1796, scurvy was virtually eliminated from the fleet too. Referring to eradication of scurvy, Blaine wrote down that humanity is the best policy, so it must be prioritized. And with this quote, I will lead my review to an end by saying that I will absolutely recommend this book, not only because of the medical mystery, but because the author highlights the triumph of the humanity over the dullness of those years. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoy your reading.